Before she became a billionaire, Kim Kardashian made one mistake that almost destroyed her entire empire. She didn't just lose money, she lost millions. And the move she made next is the reason she became one of the richest women in entertainment. Kim Kardashian didn't just become famous, she didn't just stay relevant. She mastered the art of failure, weaponized it, and used it to build one of the most profitable personal brands in the world. But what most people don't know is that before she became a billionaire, Kim Kardashian lost millions. Deals collapsed, businesses failed, lawsuits piled up, reputations cracked, and her public image, the foundation of her empire, took hits that could have ended her career forever. Yet somehow, she came back stronger than ever. Today, we are diving deep into how Kim Kardashian went from losing fortunes to creating a billion-dollar empire that no one saw coming. And the real reason Kim finally became a billionaire isn't what the world thinks. Kim Kardashian's journey into fame wasn't clean, polished, or built on traditional talent. In fact, her rise was chaotic, controversial, and widely criticized. And that very chaos became both her greatest advantage and her biggest financial threat. Before she made her first million, Kim's name was already attached to scandals and media storms that could destroy most people's reputations. But instead of running from controversy, Kim leveraged it. She turned public curiosity into a business model. She understood something long before the world did: fame, even messy fame, had market value. But that strategy had limits, and when the fame bubble nearly burst, Kim found herself on the verge of losing everything she had built. But what happened next would push her career to the edge of collapse. One of the earliest blows to Kim's fortune came from failed business ventures. The Kardashian sisters attempted everything: clothing stores, makeup lines, debit cards, tanning products, and even boutique fragrances. Some ventures succeeded briefly, but many crashed almost instantly. The Kardashian card, for example, became a financial disaster that cost the family major losses after massive public backlash. The tanning products underperformed, the clothing lines struggled to stay afloat, and the retail stores drained resources faster than they earned revenue. Kim was losing hundreds of thousands, then millions. Most celebrities simply cut their losses and moved on, but Kim treated every failure like a classroom. Every flop taught her what consumers actually wanted. Every mistake forced her to refine her next move. And then came the lawsuits, some of the most damaging financial hits Kim ever faced. Several companies sued her for breach of contract, misrepresentation, or failed endorsements. At one point, she was dealing with legal claims reaching into millions of dollars. Every lawsuit meant money lost, but also image lost. The media mocked her, critics called her talentless, and industry insiders labeled her a gamble unworthy of investment. Kim Kardashian was becoming rich, yes, but she was losing almost as much as she made. And behind the scenes, she knew something had to change. What no one expected was how fast her losses would turn into power. The turning point came when Kim realized that being famous was not enough. Fame made money, but it didn't guarantee longevity. Fame was fragile. Fame was temporary. Fame could collapse overnight. What she needed was something permanent, something scalable, something that didn't depend on interviews, paparazzi, or public drama. She needed a business empire, not celebrity side hustles. This shift in mindset didn't happen overnight. It came from watching other celebrities rise and fall. She saw singers going broke. She saw actors drowning in debt. She saw influencers who went viral for a year and vanished, and she made a promise to herself she would never be financially disposable. But before she could rebuild, she had to face one of the most damaging losses of her career: the collapse of her first major beauty line. This was the moment her empire was hanging by a thread. And this was the moment her entire empire almost fell apart. Kim Kardashian's early beauty ventures made waves, but behind the success, the margins were thin. Operational costs were massive. The market was becoming oversaturated, and competition was rising faster than her brand could handle. When her deal with a major beauty manufacturer fell apart, Kim suffered one of her biggest financial setbacks. Millions were lost, contracts ended, revenue streams disappeared. In the eyes of business insiders, Kim Kardashian was finished. But in the eyes of Kim Kardashian, she was just getting started. What she decided to do next would shock the entire industry and rewrite her future. Kim did something that very few celebrities in her position would ever do. She stepped back, analyzed every failure, and rebuilt from scratch. She didn't chase quick money. She didn't try to revive dead ventures. Instead, she studied successful entrepreneurs. She learned about ownership, equity, manufacturing, and distribution. She learned what turned brands into empires. And most importantly, she learned to control her own narrative. Her first major comeback move? Contour kits. Kim realized her fans weren't just buying products, they were buying her image, her style, her aesthetic. So she created a product category tied directly to her personal identity, the contoured makeup look she had made famous, and it exploded. If you're still watching, make sure you subscribe because Kim's biggest financial twist is coming next. Her relaunch in the beauty industry didn't just make millions, it proved her power. It proved she could create demand, not follow it. It proved that her brand was not a trend, it was a movement. But success wasn't smooth. Competition grew, markets shifted, and just when everything seemed perfect, Kim faced another painful blow: the legal battle over her beauty company name. The lawsuit forced her to rebrand, restructure, and rebuild the business she had finally perfected. Millions were lost again, months of work erased. But Kim didn't panic, she didn't crumble, she didn't give up. She transformed inconvenience into opportunity, using the rebrand to modernize, expand, and scale her business bigger than ever. The real breakthrough, however, came with a completely different idea: shapewear. Most people laughed when they heard that Kim was launching a shapewear brand. They thought it was basic, boring, and far from revolutionary. But Kim understood something the world didn't. The shapewear industry was outdated, unattractive, and underserved. Women wanted products that actually fit, actually shaped, and actually felt comfortable. So she created exactly that. Her shapewear line didn't just launch, it exploded into one of the most profitable apparel brands of the decade. It wasn't hype, it wasn't a trend, it was a necessity disguised as innovation. And for the first time, critics couldn't deny it. Kim Kardashian wasn't just a celebrity, she was a business architect. Still, the journey didn't end there. Behind every success were more losses: manufacturing delays, market crashes, public criticism, failed product drops, celebrities who copied her, brands that sued her, investors who doubted her. Every time she reached a peak, another setback arrived. Every time she celebrated a win, another financial hit followed. But Kim had learned the one skill that separates wealthy people from billionaires: the ability to turn loss into leverage. While the world mocked her, Kim studied her losses like financial blueprints. Every mistake revealed a new opportunity. Every collapse pushed her into a new direction. And from that point on, every mistake became a blueprint. And then came the biggest shift of all: ownership. Instead of watching pieces of her brand go to investors, manufacturers, and distributors, Kim began taking more control. She negotiated better deals. She demanded equity. She learned the power of licensing. She built teams who understood scalability, not fame. And slowly, loss by loss, lesson by lesson, her wealth transformed into an empire. By the time the world realized what was happening, Kim had already evolved into one of the most influential businesswomen of the 21st century. Her brands were becoming cultural staples. Her companies weren't just surviving, they were dominating. Her shapewear line was valued at billions. Her beauty line had transformed into a global powerhouse. And her personal brand, once mocked, had become practically untouchable. But the real billion-dollar twist came from something people rarely give her credit for: her work ethic. Kim Kardashian does not sleep on opportunities. She does not coast off fame. She does not rely on the past. While her peers relaxed, she strategized. While others waited for trends, she created them. And while critics dismissed her as famous for nothing, she quietly built a financial machine capable of printing millions. Yet even after this massive comeback, Kim faced another challenge: the changing economy. Consumer habits shifted, retail markets tightened, competitors emerged everywhere. And suddenly, the same strategies that made her rich no longer worked. So she reinvented again. Kim pivoted from influencer-style branding to corporate-level expansion. She secured long-term partnerships, she built factories, expanded logistics, and diversified revenue streams. In other words, she future-proofed her empire. At this point, Kim Kardashian wasn't just surviving the business world, she was dominating it with precision. And what made her unstoppable wasn't perfection, it was resilience. Failure became her greatest resource. She built a billion-dollar empire not by avoiding problems, but by mastering the art of rising after every single hit. And that is the secret of her comeback. This was Fame and Fortune, where legends rise, fall, and rebuild empires the world never saw coming. Kim Kardashian's journey proves that even the biggest losses can become billion-dollar turning points. Subscribe, the next story is even more shocking.